Today was tough. I've had anxiety like crazy. Even getting to the point of sitting here in front of you guys, being able to have this open discussion. I am Star Washington. I am a wife. I am a mom. I am a sister, a friend, a business owner. In 2023, narcissism abuse was something that was kind of new. It was a new word we were throwing around out in the world. So it was kind of new, and it wasn't something I knew anything about, but I did know the life I was living. August 27th. August 27th, my life of 2023, um, my life as I knew it changed. And it wasn't the change that was the problem for me. It was the way my life changed. So if you don't know, I live in Alabama with my husband and our four children. I own a weight loss clinic, and my husband owns a restaurant. Mhm. And August 27th, our world imploded. I'm going to take you guys to July 1st. July 1st of 2023, I hosted my first Christian Women's Conference. When I hosted that conference, it was my way of telling God, thank you. God has saved my life in February of 2023. I had been diagnosed with cancer twice. And the second time I was diagnosed with cancer, I walked to the bottom of the driveway. I put my daughter on the bus as I do every day. I waved to her and my arm broke. A cancer tumor had eaten away at the bone in my arm. It went from me having 20 years to live to 10 years to live to the doctor calling me telling me I had three. My daughter at the time was 6 years old. And I said, God, there's no way that you would bless me with this baby girl to take me from her. I asked God to do the impossible for me, and He did, and He saved my life. And that was in February of 2023. So in July, my family and I usually take a vacation for my birthday. And this year I decided not to. I decided to do a Christian women's conference because I had told God at that moment that if you save my life, I give you everything I had. And I did. I gave Him my all from that moment on. I wasn't perfect. I didn't know what that looked like. I was open. I was honest. Um, I started ministry school, and I literally just asked God, okay, what does this look like? And I was willing to take the journey, regardless of what I had to give up, what I had to do. It didn't matter. So in July, I gave up my birthday, and I hosted my first women's conference because I wanted other women to understand that I know you may not know what this looks like, but if this is your journey, then it's time to just take the first step. We had a sold out event. It was amazing. My husband catered the food because, again, we own a restaurant, and it was flat out phenomenal. From that moment, though, when you take a calling on your life, things just seem to change, and things just seem to change. But Father God, if I had known what was to come. So that was January 1st. I'm going to try to give you guys a timeline, and then I'm going to give you a backstory. So I'm going to try to give you this timeline. Follow me. August, we're at, let's say August, no, July 4th. So my birthday was July 1st. July 4th, we are at the time looking to purchase a new home. We get our pre-approval actually on the 4th of July. So we are getting ready to purchase a brand new home. At this point in time, we are looking for homes everywhere. July 7th comes, we actually go out of town to Nashville, Tennessee, my family and I, so my husband and the four kids. We go out of town to Nashville, Tennessee for a one of my cousin's weddings, have an amazing time. We come back. We're getting to the end of July. So we get to August. We get to August. August, let's say August 8th, I want to say, I get Text message from my husband, and it's typical, his typical fashion. You are my very best friend. Everything I do in the world is for you and you only. This is August 8th. I need y'all to pay attention to these dates. August 11th or 12th, he sends me a picture of a car, and it's a Infinity truck. I'll never forget the black rims on it. And he says, do you like this? August 11th or 12th. Remember that. And I said, in my mind, I was thinking, why would we be buying a new car when we are getting ready to buy a home? What y'all don't know is, in order to purchase the home, we took on a very large tax debt. And when I say we, I mean him, but I'll say we. Um, but the restaurant had not done taxes in quite some time. So one of my clients at the weight loss clinic was on the tax office, and she was able to get his books in order, but it still left a very, very large tax debt. So in my eyes, we are not purchasing a vehicle when we are getting ready to purchase a home anyway. So this is August 11th or 12th. I get the picture about the car, and they ask me if I like it, if I want it. Okay, that's August 11th and 12th. Then we get to August 17th. That's my daughter's birthday. She asked for one gift. And I remember saying, hey, this is what she wants. I was texting. I was like, hey, this is what she wants. What do you think? And the response I got was, you get her what you want to get her, and I'll get her what I want to get her. It was strange. I thought that was pretty strange. And from, I would say, maybe her birthday, there was a little bit of distance between us because there was a little bit of attitude. So there was a little bit of distance between us, and we weren't really speaking to each other up at that point. Um, and then we get to August 27th. So let me tell y'all what ended up happening in my world. I've been married 14 years. I've been with my husband 16 years. We have four amazing children together. We take at least 3 family vacations every year. We have friends. We both own our own business. Um, we host family functions at our home. Just a typical average family is what you would think. I go online one day, I click a button, and when I clicked that button, it said that, um, well, my world unraveled at that point. It said that my husband had been sleeping with somebody's wife, that he had been doing some things inappropriately. In that message on social media, there were phone records, there were text messages, there were dates and times that they were at hotels together. My world imploded all in one. One of the disclaimers I wanted to tell you guys at the beginning of this is, I agree to be 100% transparent with the information that I choose to share, and I will not share anything that I don't have a receipt for. Okay, so if it comes out of my mouth and I'm asked to prove it, I can. Otherwise, even if I want to tell you, if I can't prove it, I won't. Okay, so there are hotels, there are phone records, there are text messages that I can read my husband's words to somebody that's not me. I can read them. I can read what he's saying. I can see the phone records. I can see the text messages. I can see them. And it's not me. Now, one thing I want to make clear is that gotta do a thing. Okay? And I'm no longer in a hurt place. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to sit here and do this. I waited until I got out of that place to be able to sit here and do this, because I didn't want to speak from a hurt place, because Speaking from a hurt place won't help anyone else. So I wanted to make sure that when I sat here and did this, that I wasn't in a hurt place. And sometimes when we think that our world is crashing down all around us, God is in the midst. And the funny thing about God is the way he chooses to bless us, we don't get to decide. And so there's greatness on the other side if you just go on through. You just got to go through, though. You got to go through that valley. So if you've ever been cheated on, or if if you feel like life is over, trust me, let me be the first to tell you that it's not. There is joy, like pure joy that you've never experienced before on the other side. You just got to go through. So my world imploded. I'm reading everything that has been sent to me. And one of the things my heart had to think was, this is her husband sending it to me. So their world has imploded too. 23 years of marriage, 3 children. So two selfish humans decided to take 7 children's lives and play with them. They didn't choose to get a divorce first. They didn't choose to do things the right way. They didn't choose to move on successfully. Two selfish people chose to take 7 kids' lives into their own hands and do with it what they wanted to. So when my world imploded, August 27th was when I found this out. September 1st, I had a doctor's appointment in Atlanta. We were going to see a specialist. And I remember my husband telling me, we'll go all over the world. We'll do anything we need to do. But when September 1st came, he no longer wanted to do anything. And a friend and I went to Atlanta. I was going to see a specialist. They had told me I was cancer free, but there were still spots all over my body that they wanted to make sure that it never came back. So in order to do that, I had to go see a specialist, and they ended up telling me that I had to have a stem cell transplant. I am petrified at this point. I think all I kept hearing was 12 days in the hospital. You're going to have to do a massive dose of chemo and you will lose all your hair. I could not get past those words because I had never been away from my children for longer than, I don't know, 2 days, 3 days. So 12 days was a lot. I had a baby girl at home. Um, I didn't mind losing all my hair. That was fine. I got some really good friends, y'all. I had the best hair pieces there was. So I didn't mind losing all my hair. But it was the massive dose of chemo, just the whole uncertainty of it all. But let me tell you what happened. The doctors came in. They told me everything. And then they said, let me call your husband so we can explain it to him so that he can better understand it coming from us. 16 years I've been with this man, 14 years married, and we have 4 children. It's 3 days after I have found out that he is having an affair with someone else's wife. It is 3 days. This is my life. Narcissist. Y'all, I know y'all thought it was cliche last year when everybody was saying it, until it becomes your life. Until it becomes your life. So, what I want y'all to understand before I go further is I saw the 50-part series going around, and first, no negative comments will be answered from me. Second, as women, we love to tear each other down, but we have not all always been in a successful relationship. We have all ignored red flags at some point. We have all loved harder than we should have at some point. So this is my story that I'm choosing to share with you guys because women are my ministry, and I'm choosing to share with you because when I was at my lowest point and I thought I was going to literally die, I would have liked to have known the information that I know now. I would have liked for someone to be able to reach out to me and be able to say, "Hey, sis, this is what's going on. This is what you're going through." I did my own homework, my own research. So now I'm in that position to be able to be the one to say, "Hey, sis, this is what's going on and this is what you're going through." But I'm not here to be judged. I don't care about your opinion, so save it ahead of time. Um, I'm not here for my husband to be judged. I know that y'all will form an opinion based off of what I'm going to say, but anyone that can treat someone that type of way needs God first. He needs to be prayed for, and he needs help. He needs help. So, as his soon to be ex wife, no, I don't want to be romantically connected with him, but I do want his soul to be saved. I do want him to, at some point, be able to see himself and get the help he needs. So, I'm asking that you guys take this as me being transparent with you, being honest with you, because if I only helped one person, I remember when I thought I was going to jump out my bedroom window. So if I only help one person, then that's okay. But I'm not sharing it for, I said I wasn't going to cry, y'all. Let me tell you, I truly been thugging it out because I'm on the joy side of it all. So I really said I wasn't going to cry, but these tears are not for a lost relationship. These tears are not for a lost marriage. And trust me, y'all, these tears ain't for that man. Okay? They're not. These tears are because I remember the day I wanted to jump out that bedroom window. I remember that day. And so this is to make sure that somebody else sitting there that's at that point where they want to do that, they know that I promise you, there is joy, pure joy on the other side. There's joy. You just got to hold on when you feel like your world is crashing down all around you. If you hold on, though, the other side looks so sweet. It looks so sweet and it's so worth it. So just go through and know that God is refining you. Okay? So I just want to put that disclaimer out there before the internet takes my life and tears it to shreds and forms their opinions. I know that I'm putting it out there for you guys to be able to do that. I get it. But y'all, come on. Okay? Just put yourself in my shoes for 5 seconds. And if you did, you would know I've been here. I've done that. And even if I haven't, even if you haven't, you know someone that has. So I'm asking that you just extend a little bit of grace, okay? Because I'm choosing to share my story. Okay. So I'm gonna take you back. Now we are September 1st. I'm in Atlanta. I'm at the specialist. One of my best friends is with me. They come in, they tell me that I have to do a stem cell transplant. But if I do it, so it's really not an option. They told me I had an option, but technically it's not an option because if I do it, I never have to go through this again. So because of those 4 kids, it's really not an option. Um, but I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. I really am. And it's 3 days after I found out. Okay. Three. 1, 2, 3. They come in, they call my husband. They say, we're gonna call him so we can relay everything to him so that he'll know what's going on. They call y'all. 3 days. 3 days ago, you were laying in the bed beside me. They call him and they say, "Hey, this is Dr. Such and Such, and we're calling from such and such hospital, and we're calling in regards to your wife." He knew about the appointment. And they said, "We're calling in regards to your wife. This is that." He hangs up on the doctor. He hung up. 3 days. The same man I lived in a home with for 16 years that I gave 4 kids to. And when the doctors called him about my life, he hung up. He did that. Definitely did that. Remember, what I want y'all to constantly remember throughout this is I won't say anything I don't have receipts for. It's as simple as that. I won't say nothing I can't prove. He hung up. And I'll tell you, one of my best friends was with me. She'll vouch for it. I don't know how I got from the doctor's office room to my car because I just couldn't understand how I had spent 16 years with somebody and in 3 days, my life meant nothing to him. And from that moment, everything got crazy. Everything got crazy. So we come back home. We're in September. Remember that. His birthday is September 18th. So we come back home, and let me say this. In a narcissistic relationship, and when you're experiencing narcissistic abuse, a trauma bond is a real thing. Okay? It's a real thing. When I give you guys a backstory, you will understand that there are so many reasons, so many why I should have walked away from this marriage 1,000 times. So many reasons. My husband's demons run deep. So there's so many reasons. Um, but we had this family, and I came from a broken home, and I didn't want my kids to come from a broken home. And what went on between us privately had nothing to do with my children. So they thought they had a great life. They thought they had the perfect life. And I did not want to deny them of that. I didn't want to deny them of that. And so a trauma bond is a real thing. It's a real thing. Y'all don't know me personally, but I'm probably one of the most confident people I know. I own a weight loss clinic here locally in our city, and I'm really proud of what we do. My job is ministry, so I'm really proud of what we do. Confidence is my superpower, is what I always say. But when it come down to my marriage, for some reason, that same level of dopeness didn't lie there. It didn't lie there. And it was like he intentionally tried to strip me of it. My personality was too big. My the spotlight was too big. But y'all, I came from nothing. Understand that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And nobody gave me nothing. Every single thing that we have obtained, and I'm not saying that we got anything, you know? We've just established a normal life, and that required me working for it. And I'm proud of me. I'm gonna make it through this, y'all. I'm gonna make it through this. I'm gonna say it 1,000 times. Ain't a tear I shed about no man. The tears I shed is about the girl I was with that man. The woman I was that allowed so much to transpire with that man. And how we can become so broken in certain areas and then so strong in others, but so weak in others. Y'all, I'm telling you, if you had asked me about narcissism in 2022, I'd have told you I don't know what you're talking about. Even in 2023, I really didn't know until I experienced it. So the doctors call him. He hangs up on the doctor's office. It's my life. It's 3 days. He hang up on the doctor's office. At this point, he's no longer at the house, of course. And him hanging up on the doctor's office was huge for me. It was devastating to me. But what he was doing was creating distance from his family and himself. Because if you know anything about it, he's going to create a story that he wants the world to know. And in order for that story to ring true, then he has to create a distance from his family. Well, What ended up happening in the long run was the same man that lived in the house with us every day for 16 years. Our oldest child is 15, and he don't know anything but his father. My youngest is our daughter. She's 7. That same man stopped coming around his kids, stopped communicating with his kids, stopped talking to his kids, um, pretty much stopped having anything to do with his kids. And um, I know that the world is being told that I would keep him from his children. But as a mom, I watch my 7-year old daughter cry every single night. And she didn't understand, she couldn't comprehend what had transpired. So I watched her cry every single night. Um, I watched my 15-year-old become angry. He became very angry because his father constantly told him that it wasn't true. I've nothing's going on. This is not true. To this day, says the same thing. Nothing's going on. This is not true. And so I watched my 15-year-old become very angry. My 13-year-old became very withdrawn, and then my 10-year-old. As a mom, my 10-year-old came into my room one day, sat on my bed, and he said, "I know I seem so happy, but there's so much pain inside. And sometimes I just want to kill myself." He's 10. He's 10. And he thought he had the perfect life. So let me tell you something. Physical abuse isn't the only form of abuse. And if you guys think that that's it, let me be the first to tell you that it's not. My 10-year-old talking about suicide at 10 because he can't understand what's going on in his world. But what's really going on is his father chose to be selfish. Let me tell y'all something. It's okay for people to divorce. It's okay for people to separate. It's okay for people to not be together. But if you know anything about narcissism, they usually walk away from their children. And the mental abuse that has transpired with the kids is more so because it was suddenly. It was suddenly. It was a one day you were my dad and the next day you weren't. It was that. And so as a mom on the back end, it's a lot to deal with. While I'm mentally holding myself together, I am trying to hold my children together at the same time. And I'm going to say this one time. And after this one time, we won't say this again. Remember, I told you that when I found out that cheating had transpired, it was with a married woman who had been married for 23 years and she had 3 children of her own. Our children actually go to the same schools. We live in the same neighborhoods. I know that there's a lot of you out there. But let me say this. To be able to talk to, laugh with, enjoy somebody else's father and somebody else's spouse, and think for a moment that the narrative will change with you is the reason why when I pray for him, I pray for you because I have to. Because the foolishness in that thought process says, sweetie, you don't get it. You just don't get it. And Sometimes the sins of the father trickle down to the children. So sometimes you don't pay for your sins, your children end up doing that. Again, I pray for you as I pray for him. And that's all I got for you. So we are now, you guys, in September. It is, um, I know now that I have to have a stem cell transplant. I know now that I have to do chemo treatments. I know all these things now. My world is also falling apart at the same time. It gets worse. It's the change in the narrative and the abrupt change in the man that was the problem for me. Um, Cheating wasn't more so of a problem as the disconnect from your family, the disconnect from your children. A restraining order was filed so that the children and I could not come near his place of business. Um, they're going to immediately start saying this, that, and that about you. One of the things I need you, anybody listening to the sound of my voice, I need you to understand. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. When they are telling everybody that the problem is you, when they are telling everybody that you are crazy, when they're telling everybody that you are this and you are that, remember who you are. Remember who you are, because it'll all come out in the wash. But don't you let those words tear your spirit down. Don't you let those words make you question, because sometimes cheating will make us question who we actually are. I'm telling you, remember who the hell you are. Remember what you bring to the table. Remember that and stand firm in that. I've heard a lot that's been said. I I've heard the lies. I've heard the smear campaign. That's all a part of it. I've heard it all. But I'm telling you that if you feed into that, it'll break your spirits. It'll break your soul. A restraining order was placed on his wife and his kids. On his wife and his kids to separate his girlfriend from his family. That's the reality. To separate his girlfriend from his family. Let me give you guys a backstory so it all makes sense for you. Let me give you a backstory so that you understand where I'm coming from when I say some of the things I say, because what I won't do is bash her or him, because you have to feel sorry for them both. So I won't bash her and I won't bash him. Um, you got to feel sorry for them. That's all you can do. But if I give you a backstory, we have a pretty decent life. But emotional abuse and mental abuse and narcissistic abuse, they are real things. Every level of abuse is not physical. And that's what I want people to understand. Um, to the outside world, we were the perfect family. We were amazing. We had a great home. We both owned our own businesses. Um, we had amazing children. Like I said, we took vacations a few times a year. You know, I mean, we just had this great life. Even my children, the people in my home, it was their assumption that life was amazing. But he and I, the oh y'all, I almost said his name. But I can't tell you how many times I prayed and I said, God, why would you send this man in my life to destroy my life? I can't tell you how many times I said that prayer. Um, and I know y'all may think that, okay, well, why didn't you just walk away? I came from a broken home. And there are 4 children that don't know that life. And I didn't want them. to experience that life. I figured, and I know all women won't agree with me, and that's okay because remember, this is my story to tell, and I can choose to live it my way. So I figured that I would sacrifice my happiness for my children's. And when I say sacrifice my happiness, if you know anything about narcissism, there are always moments of happiness. There are always moments of that. So I can hold on to these moments of happiness to make sure that my children have a consistent, stable, happy life. Because as soon as my life blew up and imploded, their father stopped being their father by choice. So I was willing to give up my peace for theirs. And I know y'all may not agree. That is your choice. Remember that. This is my life. My husband, I don't want to, this is not a bash him fest, okay? So I want y'all to know that there were a lot of things that transpired throughout our marriage that if you had saw us in the forefront, you would never know that. But on the back end, I cried out for all kinds of help. We did all kinds of counseling, all kinds of um, church counseling with our churches, with some church friends. Let me tell you, church counselors, something. Listen, y'all got to do better. 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 And let me tell you why. Because I went to some of these counseling sessions pouring my heart out, fighting to save my family, fighting to save my family. And their focus was all wrong. So I'm telling y'all don't know what you just doing the right thing in that moment could do. It could change the trajectory of a family. And y'all be dropping the ball sometimes. And I'm not speaking for all churches, and I'm not because I go to a really dope, amazing church. My bishop is amazing. So I'm not speaking for all churches. What I am saying is that I have reached out for help multiple times in the intent to keep my business private so I can go to my church, my local church, or someone that owns a church that we know. Y'all have dropped the ball tremendously, tremendously, tremendously. So, but in the back end, there was a lot going on that wasn't put out in the forefront. Um, y'all, because in my mind, I'm toying with how much I want the world to know, how much I want to put out there for the world, because I don't now, nor did I then think that my husband was a bad man. And I still don't think that today. I think he's lost. I think he has, I think she's lost, he's lost. And I think, when you leave the door open for the devil, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy, and that's his mission. So I think he's lost. But him being lost doesn't make him a bad man. I loved him. So that doesn't make him a bad man. Um, my husband waited till we was married to tell me that he had a drug addiction. Okay, for a long time, years and years and years. And that's not something that if you knew him and I, you would have ever known that. It was my job as his wife to cover him. And it won't y'all business. It technically ain't y'all business now. The only reason why I'm telling you now is because it's no longer my job to cover him. So, hey, my life, my story, my truth. I don't mean it in a derogatory way. All I mean is that I fell in love with a broken man, a very broken man. And as I went through the changes with him, I was willing to go through them. Um, yeah, I could have walked away. I was married. My vows said through sickness and in health, through death do us part. I was that kind of chick. So I was gonna take it all the way to the end, through sickness and in health, to death do us part. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm flawed. That's true. But there were, I used to always say, why can't we just have normal people problems? Just regular problems. Let's just get mad at each other for not washing the dishes or not cooking dinner. It was always something major. But not only did he have a heavy drug addiction, um, This one is tough for me. My husband and I have a 12-year age difference. And I'm not going to say he has a sex addiction. I'm not going to say that. It's almost a perversion a little bit. And to a point where it's a problem. I will say that. To a point where it's a problem. To a point where a lot of inappropriateness has transpired. I will say that. As his wife, um, I was willing to. Kirk Franklin used to be addicted to porn. His wife didn't leave him. So, as his wife, I was willing to go through the changes with him and attempt to help him in any way I could. And it wasn't child business. It was my job as his wife to cover him. And what y'all saw, or what we put out there for y'all to see, were those happy moments that I cherished. And my kids only know. My kids don't know any of the bad. They only know the good because I kept it from everyone. But what that did was that put a weight on my shoulders that left me carrying and bearing the brunt of my entire family all the time. All the time. While I appeared happy, the star I see now versus the star I was then, I don't recognize. I don't recognize the level of emotional abuse I went through at the hands of my husband, or the level of mental abuse that I went through at the hands of my husband, is mind blowing. And everybody knows me as this dope chick. And I am this dope chick. Um, before those kids. And I know I can't blame it on that because there has got to be something in Star that was willing to accept certain things that I knew was wrong. So when he decided to do what he did and cut off his family and cut off his kids and watch them hurt and watch their hearts bleed, that's to be expected. That's to be expected. That's nothing new. Emotionally, he was always abusive. My 15-year-old is old enough to know what's going on. He's old enough to know, hey, dad has done something wrong. And so he has all the children blocked, so no one can reach him. My 15-year-old has been blocked on his phone about 5 months now, a long time. Um, y'all, he would, on the rare occasions that he saw the kids, he would come and pick up the boys, get their haircut, wouldn't take the oldest. He would come and when Christmas came, he didn't call anybody. He didn't buy anything. So that is their first time experiencing that. As children, remember all this happened in August, we're in September. So when you get to December, as children, they don't understand or comprehend what is going on. What is going on? And he didn't make any effort at all. Now, around January, mid-January, he brought some clothes for school. He didn't buy the 15-year-old anything. Um, something happened between the two of them. And my son will swear in a court of law that his father pulled a gun out on him. And the reason why I call this narcissistic abuse is because the man I was married to, regardless of his flaws and issues, the man I was married to was a suit and tie wearing man. He was a father. He was a husband. He was a hard worker. And the man I see now owns a gun. has a gold grill in his mouth, got a tattoo on the side of his neck, wears Jordans and sweatpants. He has completely transformed into whatever his next identity is supposed to be, and he has cut off all access to this world. I felt the need to share what I went through because in that process, I thought I was going to die. In September, I thought I was going to lose my mind. In October, I was mad as hell. Okay. In November, I was repenting to God for everything that happened in October. Because in October, I was mad as hell. God had to keep telling me, vengeance is not yours. I was mad. In December, God reached down in that pit and pulled me out. And in January, He gave me joy. So I want you to know that if you don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, don't feel bad for ignoring red flags. To the world, we were the perfect family. To my kids, we were the perfect family. But on the other side of their bedroom door, my husband was, and it's not me. It's not me, y'all. It's not me. I'm still just as dope as I was before he came along. I'm still just as dope after the fact. It's not me. It's the brokenness in him that is the problem. And I challenge you, when you get ready to marry someone, date someone, look at their family lineage. Look at their family. I'm not talking about his family. All I'm saying is if I had to check the family line, I would have known what to expect. Look at their lineage, y'all. You got to look at the family. You got to look at the mom, the dads, the sisters, the brothers, the this, the that. One day his sister walked over to my car and she said, my brother's a horrible husband and he don't know how to be a no, he's a horrible father and he doesn't know how to be a husband. That was his sister. Y'all gotta check that family line. Y'all gotta check that family line. But I'm I was called to do this because I know that some of us don't believe that narcissists are real. They're real. They are very real. Um, my husband cheated on his family. He lied to the world about what had transpired. He still sneaks and hides with whoever he's cheated with. He got the law involved with restraining orders, all of this to keep his family away from the lies he has told. He has transformed into somebody we do not know. It is very, very real, y'all. But it's not about the person that has done something to you. That's not the focus. That's not the focus. Yes, he is not who I thought he was. Okay, but I am. I am. And I can go be dope somewhere else. The focus has got to be you coming through on the other side. When you are in that pit and you think there is no light at the end of that tunnel, focus on yourself. Focus on getting you together. Pay attention to all the great things that are going on versus all of the bad things that are going on. Pay attention to the good. Get your money, okay? Make sure that if nothing else, y'all, child support court is a real thing. I know men don't like to hear it. I'm an advocate for it. Take them to court, period, point blank. Divorce court is a real thing. It is a real thing. I remember talking to my husband at one point, had not filed for divorce. Had not filed for divorce. You are the cheater. You are tormenting your kids and making my life a living hell. Had the electricity turned out in our home twice. Same man I've been married to for 14 years and sleeping in the same bed with, I don't recognize. Who turns the lights out on their kids? Twice. Living in hell is what me and my children were doing so that he could hide the fact that he had cheated with somebody's wife. Okay? Y'all, get a divorce. Do what's best for you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Do what's best for you. I can promise you some things. You will love again, top tier love. You will find happiness, real, pure, genuine happiness that starts from you first. God has not forgotten about you. When you are in that pit and you think you'll never see the light of day again, God has not forgotten about you. He in that pit with you. But sometimes he got to crush you first. Sometimes he got to take you through so he can refine you. Everybody can't go. He sees stuff in him or her that you cannot see. So he going to remove them. He going to remove them. And sometimes he got to crush you so you won't run back. It's that simple. Y'all, you will have life again. It's going to hurt. Just let it hurt. Just let it hurt because that hurt will heal. Feel every ounce of that pain. You need to. When I was going through the painful moments, I remembered every single red flag I ignored. Did y'all just hear me say we both own our own business? That we got 4 amazing kids? Did y'all just hear me say we take vacations a couple times a year? Y'all just heard me say all of that, and nobody knew that I was suffering in silence? Nobody knew that my husband would go a week living in the same house and not even speak to me? Nobody knew that he would not speak to his son for 2 weeks living in the same house with him? Nobody knew. When the lady from what was that place? The Turkey Leg Hut in Houston said walking in her house was like walking into hell. I felt that so deep in my spirit. I felt it so deep in my spirit. And if you ask, I'm sure if you ask him today, he will blame everything on his wife and kids. Y'all, the problem is God woke me up. He took me out the pit. Remember I told you in December, he reached down in the pit, he pulled me out. January, he started giving me joy back. So I didn't forget who I was in the process. You can't die there. You cannot die there. Because if you die there, you'll miss out on the joy. But a narcissist is real as hell. They will torture you. They will torture your children. They will be someone that you don't even recognize, as if they were not even the same person that you were just married to, dating, living with. They will be someone that you do not recognize. But you have to learn how to heal, how to get past those moments, how to get past those places. Because when you do heal and when you get past those moments and past those places, it's a lot of joy over there. It's a whole lot of joy over there. So I wanted to sit down and make this video for a couple of reasons. One, because one thing I do believe is that it is your story to tell however you see fit. However you see fit. I'm a strong woman. And I don't like for people to see a whole lot of weakness. To say that I used to tell him though that he's emotionally and mentally abusive. And so to say that I was emotionally and mentally abused sounds like a weakness, but it's okay. I will heal from those places and it's fine. It's fine. That's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. To say that it was important to me that my family always appeared um, as my family and that the world was not a part of our business, that's suffocating, y'all. I'm not saying tell your business to everybody, but what I am saying is that that is suffocating. I was drowning there because when I really needed somebody, there was no one to tell because everybody thought we were perfect. So there was no one to tell. Who do you go to when your 10-year-old says they think they want to commit suicide? Who do you go to? Usually it would be their father, but remember their father don't care. So who do you go to? Because nobody knows what you're going through because everybody thinks your life is perfect. Get rid of that in 2024. Let that go. Okay? Let that go. Nobody's perfect. We all go through. No one's perfect. So get rid of that. I know I've told y'all a lot of my personal life, which I don't usually do. The people closest to me do know, but I don't usually do. Um, I'm gonna say it again. I'm not here to bash either parties. Um, I do feel sorry for both. To walk away from 16 years and 23 years um, for sex, drugs, and alcohol means you open the door for the devil. And I can pray for you real hard, but you got to reap seeds that you've sown on both sides. So at some point, the man I knew, even being, no, y'all, I almost said something that wouldn't have been true. And I promise y'all that I would be transparent and that I would be honest. The man I fell in love with was who he presented himself to be. The man I was married to was the man I built him up to be. It's that simple. But the man that abused me was his true self, who he couldn't help but be. Because you can build him up all you want to. He's going to be his authentic self. He's going to do that. When I found out about a drug addiction for over 20 years, like years and years and years, when it came time for him to open his restaurant, I felt like it was time for the spotlight to shine on him. It's your time to shine. I poured everything I had. Everything I had. There's not a word. He'd have to take the whole website down. There's not a word on the website he wrote. Everything. And as his wife, I took pride in doing that for him. I took pride in doing that for him. And he used that same thing that I took pride in birthing and using that same thing to be sexually perverted, for no better word. You got to let people be who they going to be. And you got to know that you are who you are, regardless of what is said about you, regardless of how they spin the narrative. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. My mom used to always say the sweetest revenge is living well. Well, I'll tweak that a little bit and say moving on gracefully is enough. Is enough because you get the opportunity to live again. I'm free. I am free. I am free from the world's judgment. I am free from everybody thinking that we were perfect. I am free from my children hurting. I am free from temporary moments of love. I am free. I am so free. I'm free to love. I'm free to be. I'm free. So it's okay. When I put this out here, regardless of what y'all think, the internet is a cool place, but it's okay. I need somebody because I've done a lot of research on narcissism. I need somebody to understand that there is another side. It's gonna hurt, but baby girl, you gonna get through it. It's don't feel like your world is coming to an end, but I promise you, you will get through it, and you will be able to look them in the face and say, "You did not break me. It's just not. I'm not broken." God put all those pieces back together again. My bishop said, God still builds with broken pieces. Baby, he is building a masterpiece with me, and I am so grateful. And that too can be you. It's going to hurt, but it'll be okay. I'm free. I'm free from everything that was holding me back in life. I'm free. I pray for all of you. I pray for my spouse. I pray for the woman he cheated with. I pray for all 7 kids. I pray for her spouse. I pray for everybody involved. I always say there's 11 of us involved in this. I pray for everyone involved. But this is my truth. This is my honesty. And I'm able to tell it to you from a healing place. I need y'all to understand that not one tear was about no man. The tears were that I could not believe I let myself get so wrapped up, so caught up, and in such a broken place. Such a broken place. On one hand, I was dope in some areas of my life, and on other hand, I was so broken at the hands of my spouse, and no one knew. So God imploded my world so that everybody would know. And hopefully, you'll watch this video and you'll know there's a smile on my face, there's joy in my heart because I made it to the other side. Thank you guys for watching. Um, y'all can follow me on social media, all channels. It is truly becoming her because that's what I'm doing now. I'm truly becoming her, and I'm living in these moments, and I'm loving all of them. I'm finally free.